Transformers reviews, tech and the news, whatever else I use as a muse. Hit subscribe, I appreciate the views. Influences interest on YouTube.
What is going on, people? This is Influence. Today I have X-transbots 87MXXXVLIATPQ Double Agent Bond-James. You know how I do in the beginning, I just give you the straight up what my thoughts are of this. They need to hire new designers. Okay, let me preference. I'm not a designer myself. I have no solutions. I have complaints with no solutions, which is something I don't like doing, but that's what it is. I have complaints and no solutions because I'm not a designer. They need new designers. I'm sorry. I just got done defending this company in my comments, not defending it, but like telling some people that, you know, that they did have some good products. Like a lot of people, they got a bad reputation. A lot of people's like, whatever. So let's not get too far into that. That's a whole nother video. But this thing, you can see after transforming it, I probably broke something in there. This isn't right. Maybe that's what the issue is. I probably don't have this right. I'm not sure. It's not going back together. There's tabs in there, I think. Or there used to be. You know what? I think you had to flip them in. You did. I remember now. So we'll get to that. I'm not going to undo this and flip it back in, but I forgot. Just know I forgot to flip them tabs in. Don't recommend it. However, if you're like me, you enjoy the character, there's no other representation, which is the reason I bought it. I wasn't going to buy this because I'm pretty much done with X-transbots, I think. Besides a few figures. I just can't do the hit or miss. If I do buy them, it's just to do reviews on them most of the time now. But other than that, I'm not sure how many more figures I'm buying from X-transbots. I say that I'm in for their protector bots. I did like them. But all right, let's get it moving. I know that was long-winded, but we'll get through this car. Paint, I can say, is very nice. You got the red gloss. Even though I like the paint and it's nice, just all the panel lines take away from it. And I mean, that's a given. How can you fix that? I'm not sure. But I do know if stuff went together better. And again, this is my bad because I remember there's pieces that you had to flip in for robot mode that I never flipped back out that tab together. So that's my bad. But still, even with that, you can hold it together and you can see like this is still the same kind of. There's a lot of flimsy pieces. I'll get to that, like this right here, but we'll see that. But yeah, the lights go up. You can store his guns, both of them. He does come with two. We'll get into accessories in a minute. Just want to go over the car. The lights pop up, and how they pop up is these little pieces right here. I do think that's pretty nice, thoughtful, because it's always hard to get these pop-up lights. Shoot, they was hard in real life. This is a Fiero, I believe, a Pontiac Fiero. Like, so disappointed in this, but I'm still gonna try to do a thorough review. So, you know, gonna do it. But yeah, you push these things in, pops up. I think that's thoughtful. Everything else, and hit or miss, I guess. Again, you can store these here. These are like an afterthought because they don't really, they just slot here. They don't really peg in anywhere. Not that I know. It just like kind of slots in there and holds with friction, which that's, it just seems like an afterthought to me. They were like, let's make this gun fold up and it could fit under there. So it's like they made the gun and then they made it fit. And this is so hard. There's a little tab back there, but you got to get this handle in. And for one, you got to turn the handle. Handles like that so it can fit in the hand. You got to turn it either that way or this way. It doesn't matter because both sides have it. So I turn it this way just in case, just because. And when you put it in, but what you can do is slide it right there and then like push it in and it'll stay in. But you get the point. Accessories, you get an extra face for the Autobot person. think that's for the Autobot person. And you just pop these little visors up and then take that off or take this off. I just had this one off already. And it's a little like mushroom peg, which I don't understand that either, but it works. You put it down. This is the extra heads, the 2 heads. Get the card and directions. Directions weren't great. And you get a box, which is really little, but I figured that because it tech specs, because I figured it came in card mode. Transform. Nothing else to do since it comes in card mode. So there's this right here is pegged into this spoiler. You can lift that up a little bit, lift that up a little bit. These doors, I forgot to mention, these doors do open. And you see his hand in there, but that's the gimmick. They open, but you can just open these doors anyhow. Undo this and kind of pull it out there and pull this out there. Here is where you see that peg right there. You got to make sure this is up or it won't pull out. But there's a peg here that was supposed to be flipped up and pegged together, but I did not do that. And I think there's a peg over here as well, or maybe it's on this side. Not sure, but get that up like this. We can move this like that to split this apart. Then what you want to do is you want to get this out of here right here. It's like a long peg that's in there. So you want to try to move this, and this is super flimsy for one. There's a peg in here, but it's not really tight, so you don't even have to worry about it. But this right here is terrible. Terrible. Probably would help to put a spudger in there maybe, but I don't have one at the moment. I don't know where it is, and it don't matter. I did this once before and it's still tight. And you see all this, like all this flex in here? It's just terrible. Terrible design right here. Because this door feels like it's going to break. All this feels like it's going to break. There you go. You got to get that off. You see how flexing that is right there. I'm scared right there. And this tab was in the arm, but not really. So over here is the same way. If you pull on the bottom and pull it out, it kind of comes out a little easier. And you can see the problem. It's in a peg on the side that's all the way in here. That's deep in. Whoa. In the peg right there. So get all that out. Now you come down here and this is already kind of out, but you pull these out a little bit. Now you just want to get them out of this. I guess I didn't have it pegged in, or it didn't go back in right, but you just want to get it out of there. You can see that peg, that there you go, right there. Now I was bending them, I was pulling on them like this. They're gonna break if you do that too much. So luckily I figured out that you don't pull on them like that. And once you do that, then you kind of flex these around. And you see this is as far as they go. So it's not like they go somewhere. You pull that around like that. Do the same thing over here and you'll see what I mean. You kind of gotta flex this as normal. As usual, plastic around plastic, which is great. There you go. And I'm being facetious if you can't tell. So then you pull these down, you kind of get this around it. It will scrape on there. And then as you're going down, when I first did this, I just was pulling all the way down and it kind of went over, but it felt like it broke because you're supposed to, as you're moving it down, you're supposed to move this over, and then when you move it down, you move it all the way over like that. You can push this panel in such as this, and then you can pull this out. This little panel right here is in some pegs. Just pull it out, push it back. Then you can move this forward like this. And you can see it forming the leg. So then with this, you can move this back and peg it together. Then just flip this up here, pull this shade down, or this window, I mean, then fold it in. Now when you fold it in, it doesn't really, it pegs on back here, and that's the only place. So you push it, it pegs in, and that's it. Like everywhere else, I saw a peg there. I thought it does kind of go in, but it's just like a, it's like a suggestion. It doesn't even seem like it's big enough to fit in there. You can see that. You see that hole? It's like you can kind of push it in there, but it just doesn't feel right. And there's a lot of places like that on this guy. So then you have this thing. So then you want to pull this down like this. Pull this down on the slider like that. Forms the foot. Then you can move this up. Wait. Move this. Have it like this. This is confusing. So you move that down. Then you can move that together like that. And then eventually it's going to move up. And then you can get all this situated. Now, before you do that, here's the tab, and the tab moved down automatically, and you got to move that up because this is the bottom of part of the foot. And with this, it's kind of weird. This is the spoiler. It moves in and out like that. This piece, you kind of pull up, and it's on like a double hinge. Then there's a little thing there that tabs onto a little piece inside here. So kind of like get that situated where it's together, and you can kind of feel it. Doesn't work the greatest, but it looks like that because this is like the top of the foot. Then you can move this in. Now you're supposed to move this all the way in. It scrapes every which way. That's the only way I found to move it in and have clearance enough over here. Then you want to move this like this, and you bend this in, and then there's a peg hole right there that you can slide this into, and there you go, and you got a foot done. Same thing over here. Do a little faster. Remember the knee, when you're moving it down, you got to move it over a little bit, then it can go all the way down, then you move it over, and there's a that's where it locks in. Or I say lock in, doesn't really lock in, it's really loose. You might want to move these skirts up because it's hard. It's hard to move this thigh anyway, but you want to move it out so you can get some clearance. Move that down, move this in here like that. Then move this, or I should say, pull this out of here. Don't forget to do that. There you go. Then you can move it down. Now you can move this on the slider down like that. Peg that back in. And then peg that in, then move this down. Then you just move this up, and again, the peg hole right there, and there's a peg in the back, and that's how it stays on there. Not the greatest, but what you're gonna do, you move this back here, and once again, move this. This is kind of tricky. It's hard to see, but you lift this up, and again, there's a tab right there that's gonna go way down here. So you gotta kind of maneuver this the best way possible to get it in. And it feels like it's gonna break it because it's not like lining up correctly. And it's probably the way I have the double hinge. It's just not a good. It's just not a good system. I shouldn't speak it saying it's gonna break, but it feels like it is. There we go. I heard it go in, so it's where it should be. Then you can move this down. This one moves down better to me, or maybe not. No, it doesn't. There we go. Yeah, this is rub it. You heard that, so is what it is. And then you just move all this over and put that in there like that again, and you have the legs done. So now let's get this done. You can move this out a little bit, move these up. They're supposed to be tabbed in like that, but if you just pull that up, then you can move all this out. You can pull this down, move this back. Now you have access to all this stuff. Now what you're going to do is roll the arms out like that. Then you can move this up like that. And this piece right here is super loose. But once you do that and you clamp this down, it kind of locks the shoulder into place, and then it moves down like that. And we'll get that together. Same over here, move that and then lock this shoulder into place, and then move that down like this. Now, I'm not sure if it's correct, but I'm going to go the easiest route. Pull these out in here. When you pull this out, push these up on this slider. It's going to go all the way. You can't even see that. And you're pushing it up on this slider. And right there, you got to try to get this arm underneath this piece that you're moving up on this slider. So it gets kind of tricky. But once you do it, you're good. And then over here, you can do the same thing. Kind of move this, stretch it around it as you're pushing it up on this slider. And you won't be able to move this up because this little tab that fits into the back will be blocking it. So that's why you got to kind of move it like this and do the best you can. So it's definitely hard, but you can do it. Then with this, you can move this down, move this out, move these inner pieces. Now you can get to them and move them out. So I move it like sideways like that, and then rub it kind of, pull it out, and move this over here just to get enough. Kind of pull this out like that. Then you gotta move this all the way around anyhow. Then there's this little piece right here that you're gonna move up, and you're gonna just fold this in. I'm not sure how you do it, but fold this down, then fold this in, because it's gonna go in in a minute. But before you do that, get this bottom piece together. So what you do, fold the sides over, and then the bottom you fold up. It kind of gives you more definition down here. Now you can move this down, move this down. This will go like in here more like that. And then this goes down and you can move this in. I'm not sure how, like, you just get it as you can. Like I had trouble getting it in. So then you want to lift all this up and try to push this in. There's two tabs that are up here that will go up there. And then you just you just gotta do your best. Make sure this stuff isn't getting caught up on. And there we go. Push this down like that. Almost there. Decepticon hands and arms. Move this over, move your fist down and get it anatomically correct. Move this, get this anatomically correct. Then you can move these janky thighs a little bit better. And you can bring in his gun just to show you that it works. I think. I don't know if I ever put his gun in. And there you go. And you see some of the issues. You can see some of the issues. This one seems okay over here. Yeah, this one isn't as bad. There's a little screw right there I might be able to tighten to get it a little better. But there we go. So here we are in robot mode for Bond, I think, or James. Yeah, I think Bond is the bad guy. James is the good guy. That's what it looks like on the card anyway. That's how they're aligned. Which Counterpunch, this would be Counterpunch. And Punch is the good guy, I believe. Yeah, I would think it makes sense. Counter, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. So he looks well. He looks good. Like I said, excuse me. If you need a representation of this character, look no further. I mean, it's the only place you can look, really. And that's in lines. That's where the issue is. Got the body, the paint. It looks the part. And then if you want to transform it into Punch, take his gun out and of course spin him around. Put these in the back because he didn't have them. They were hitting. And put the fist down. You pull this up. Pull his fist out. And then you can put his fist back in. And then down. Again over here. I definitely like Punch better than Counterpunch. I think I always did. I just like the way he looked in robot mode. Probably because he had better colors too. I mean, that yellow just, you know, it was yellow. So put that in there. And there you go. Then you can bring his gun in and put his gun in his hand. You can see his face sculpt and his detailing. He definitely needs a symbol because he's super plain. But that's the, I think, did I show his face up close? Can't remember. But yeah, my gripes, some of them are gripes, and we'll get into other gripes when we get into articulation. But some of the gripes is that I have right now are just a simplistic way. I wish a Masterpiece would have came up with something else, like maybe hide his face, just something different. I know the toy in G1 was like this, like he just turned around and just switched around some parts. However, this is Masterpiece, so I expect something else, something a little different. But it does bring nostalgia when you look at it like this and you do this. It does. So, I mean, that's a complaint, but what you gonna do? So let's compare him to some figures. And he looks, I like the way he looks. Fits in with Masterpiece. So go through articulation. Oh, I think did I fold in this window? I left this out. I think you're supposed to fold that in as well. Yeah, you're supposed to fold that in the mirror so it's not sticking out. But yeah, so earlier his shoulders, these elbows are terrible. But let's get this out of his hand and we can get into articulation and just show everything that's wrong. No. So his head goes up. It is on a hinge, so no side to side. Goes 360, but you know, if you turn too far, you can see his two faces. I think that's kind of dope like that. But there we go. So his arms get up this high, and let me see, it still goes up that high no matter what side. So it would be either robot. But the problem is you wouldn't be able to keep a pose unless you keep it up here, even so. And this one's even worse. So you have that. He does do 360. I don't know what kind of joint that is, but it's like a screw or something. So that's probably why it's loose too, because it's probably a screw in there. They like using screws instead of pins, and sometimes it's good because you can fix stuff, but at the same time, I don't know. So he has a bicep swivel here. He gets double jointed bicep, or kind of. He gets the bicep, but this is a weird thing. It's not pinned or anything because of the way they had to do it. Like they wanted to put in the bicep, the double joint, so you can get the full thing on both sides. On this side, you can see they put it in like that in order to get, the full run, but they should have had like a pin come out or something and pin in, because even on this side is even worse, because say you're on this side and you're trying to get the double joint, you're flipping down like that, like you're just exposing all this forearm madness. So let's get this back in. But I do think that's kind of genius. They just didn't go all the way with it. Like, why don't you have a less? No, I was about to say less mine broke, but you should have some pins or something that makes that connection stay. Because you can always break the connection for this pose over here, but that way it would stay when you're over here instead of flopping like that. Don't spend a lot of time on the articulation, but there's a lot of issues. Here, this stuff isn't pinned, so you're manipulating it. It'll come out. Neither one. His hand is definitely bad. This is a little more sturdy, so it doesn't do as much. Both hands have one pin, and the trigger finger's on a hinge, and the thumb is fixed. I believe the other hand is the same. Let me pull it out. Yeah, you got the the 4 fingers pinned, and you have the 3 together, and then the trigger finger moves separate and the thumb's fixed. So you have that there. Waist is super loose. You kind of get an ab crunch. I'm not sure if I guess it is made. It's like back about that much and that much, but really it's the ab crunch for him. So you get like that and then like that. So it's cool. I mean, they had to double up on a lot of joints and stuff. So I can understand. This they did well. I like these type of things. It's ratcheted. So you get this down where you need it, and ratchet is all the way out and all the way back. So you get the splits. So this right here, this mechanism, I don't know if I've seen this before, where the whole skirt is ratcheted, not just up in the thing or just the legs, like the whole skirt and everything is ratcheted on each side. But it works. And then you have really tight out to the side. You can get the side skirts up somewhat. Then you have really tight legs out to the side, about that much. So you get full split, which is good. And it's friction, and it's weird. It's tight, super tight friction. So they do the knees. Again, they do stuff that's great, I kind of like that they thought about it, because the knees have to move both ways. So they have the joint up here and not here. So you get 90 degrees, and that's all you're going to get. And then it goes this way as well. So you can get 90 degrees for that bot as well. And you have the swivel up here, thigh swivel. I think his legs are die cast, just mentioning it. And the feet on both sides, they have the same articulation, so, but they're flimsy as hell. They come apart. But you got that rocker about that much, and no other articulation, no up or down, just a rocker. You got rubber tires. I'm not sure if I mentioned that during the car mode, but I think that's it for articulation. So all in all, I think that concludes this review, because I'm going to transform this back into the car in a separate video. So look for that. Like I said in the beginning, I don't really recommend this figure if you're not into the character. Like if you're like, the character's all right, I just want to see what the figure, I hope it's a good figure. Nah. But if you need a representation on your shelf, which is what I need, because I had this figure when I was young, when I was little. I had the G1, and yeah, so it does that. It does look the part. Spruce it up with some stickers maybe. And I will get up with you in another one. This has been Influence. Please leave me all that you can leave me, and share this and like it. All right. I'll get up with you guys in another one. I think I said that 12 times before. Peace.
Life ain't no. As long as you alive, you can give another try and take it real high if you want.